80-20-365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. This is Living Your Life Well Planned, the 80-20-365 success system with its inventor, Adam Vincent Gilmer. Hi there, everybody. I'm your host, Gene Velitis, and welcome to episode 61. We're going to get to this really exciting episode in a second, but if you've been following along or if you're just joining us, it's important that you have your daily planner. That'll be your GPS to this free course, which now have 64 episodes posted and is being enjoyed globally in 46 countries. And it doesn't matter where you're living, where you're viewing us on the video on Adam's website, or if you're listening to the podcast, you can get your daily planner. We can email it to you and you just download it and follow along. It's essential to have your daily planner. It's about $1 US a day. The rest of the course, absolutely free. Also, when you're on Adam's website, 80-20-365.com, check out the bank system. The bank system is for people in sales. It's also for parents to relate to their children. It's an artificial intelligent language system that helps you increase sales. And if you really pay attention to the system, some people have increased sales by 200 to 300%. Yeah, that's not a mistake, up to 300%. So it's all on the website. Okay, now we're heading into episode 61 here. If you're listening to us in real time, we're recording this at the end of September. And the great thing is, you know what? The pandemic is still around, but people are being vaccinated and we're getting back to doing some normal things. Recently, Adam was one of the keynote speakers at one of his many companies, and he did a really fantastic training. This was in Las Vegas, Nevada. Something about the buzz in Vegas when you get there. The presentations are just more exciting. You get to meet a lot of people. And I was so impressed with this one, Adam. I wanted you to basically, let's just go through your presentation. It had a really, really fantastic message. First of all, how great was it to be up in front of a huge live audience again?
Well, good morning, good evening, around the world, wherever you're watching from. Good to see all you guys again. And, Vegas is Vegas, as you said, Gene. What happens in Vegas makes it out in social media. And I've proven that fact over and over again, about 10 million people. But it was fantastic to see everybody again, people's faces, hugging. I don't want to say kissing, but definitely hugging, fist bumping, shaking hands. And that was great because I hadn't seen everybody in about 18 months with everything that was going on. Yeah. And then the event was great. I can tell you that it's good to be up on stage again, and it's good to see these live events starting to take place. And, once again, everybody got COVID tested and, we abided by the laws, but it was great to actually deliver a presentation and get the audience reaction.
Yeah. Well, I was following on social media, and I mean, I'm very familiar with your presentations, but I really thought this one was, I thought it was perfect for getting out of this COVID thing and getting people, interacting and live. And it's just so much better than all these Zoom calls that we're all fatigued with. So your presentation was how to stay purpose, dream, and goal oriented. Absolutely perfect for the first big live event in 18 months. Run me through the presentation and what was your message to the crowd that day?
The message to the crowd was being successful, and success is measured. And by the way, I want to thank Derek for throwing the presentation together. He did all the graphics and stuff on there, so shout out to him. But it was about being successful and what everybody would define success as. And what I find is that people have different definitions on what success is. Is it wealth? Is it happiness? Is it staying family focused and what have you? And what we find out is that it's all that stuff. Okay, it's everything, and people have to decide for themselves what success really is. But there's a few key things that no matter which genre you take, every successful person has to follow. And those are the key things I focused on, making sure you got a purpose, staying true to your passion, your goals, and your dreams, and also, the review of those.
Well, how do you keep people on track? Because we've got the daily planner here, and you've got a system that you can use
Right.
that forces you to keep on track, because you have to start your day, you have to review things, and you have to score your day before you go to bed at night. So that's a great way to stay straight on all of these things: purpose, dreams, and being goal oriented. How do you stay on track?
You stay on track by, the responsibility of the meaningness of your purpose statement and the goals and dreams you put together. Now, I tell people, if you don't write them down and put them in a place where they can be reviewed often, and I review mine almost every single day. And what I find out is that is what keeps you, that's what kind of like, keeps you pointed in the right direction. It's kind of like having a ring through your nose and you're leading yourself, but there's this ultra purpose that's leading you through this stuff. And that's what keeps you on track. And, the important thing is that sometimes these goals and dreams can change. You got to make those edits, but that's the initial inertia. And by the way, it has to be important to you. It has to be something that's, going to hit you emotionally when you're saying, hey, this is what I really want in my life. And, it helps keep the north point for yourself.
Yeah. It's interesting. Now that we're coming out of this COVID thing, do you think people were dreaming less and not being on purpose less because of COVID? And are you finding now that we're starting to get meeting in person and interacting with people, that people's purpose and dreams are actually starting to come alive again? In other words, have many of us been in hibernation for 18 months?
Well, I think, I've got my own personal reasons of what I think this whole COVID thing is, but here's my point. There's lots of people that got wealthy during, the COVID-19 piece and still are. Okay. So I think what it comes down to is, obviously we don't want to get people sick and what have you. That makes sense. But it comes down to, a person has to get, out of the, den, like the bear, and you say, okay, it's time to go get some good sockeye salmon, okay, and go down to the stream or the river, or whatever the case is, and go fishing again. And we did a whole episode on teaching how to fish and, catching a fish versus teaching how to fish. And that's what it comes down to. I have my own goals and dreams, of course, and I'm like, okay, it's time to get after it again. In fact, I'm doing my first international flight over to Italy in about 2 weeks, and going to Venice for an international convention over there. And, once again, you got to go through this whole priority, COVID checklist and what have you. But, we're going to do the best we can with the circumstances. But I think it's people have to wake up and, get themselves not only the system, but get themselves into creative mode again and say, let's go make it happen. Let's go after the dream.
Yeah. Well, I know that we told the story, a ton of episodes ago. But a lot of people were complaining about what isn't on Netflix and complaining about this and complaining about that. A lot of us who are entrepreneurial were looking at this situation, much like you, and you started to supply tools and instruments for people in this whole COVID thing, and you made a lot of money. And one of my goals when this whole thing started was I wasn't going to sit at home and eat. I wasn't going to be looking in the refrigerator. I wasn't going to be watching Netflix. In fact, I canceled Netflix. And my priority was, how can I take advantage of this situation? Or to use a very overused cliche, life gave me and everybody else a big lemon. But people like you and I, we made lemonade. And you know what? Anybody can do it.
And once again, it comes down to the internal motivation. We spent a lot of time in the earlier episodes about talking about how you create all that. Well, if you're binge listening or what have you to the show, I would encourage you to go back to, even episode like 1 through 10. And I find myself going back there too, and listening to them, because it kind of lays the groundwork for like coming out of COVID, or we were going into COVID then. Little did we know back then. But you got to lay down the foundation of what you really want, and that's how you ultimately stay on track of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, during this COVID period, we've had 3 different space, civilian type space crafts go up and down. They didn't come off track. All those different companies didn't come off track launching and doing their stuff, whether it is Branson, Elon Musk, or Bezos or what have you. It's all, they stayed on track, right? So yeah. What was driving them, and they obviously had these things written down, and talk about big undertakings. I mean, it's one thing to have a car company or, time management company or, direct sales business and what have you. But imagine having a company says, oh, listen, we're going to compete for civilian space flight. And COVID's here. And look, they came through, and the last one was I think a week or two ago, and they're successful. And in spite of all the failures that all those gentlemen have had, and they've had colossal debts.
Yeah. Well, I think our listeners around the world really picked up on this podcast because it's, when we started this 1 month before COVID, and now here we are 18 months later with 64 episodes, and the message is getting across. We're in 46 countries worldwide in a very, very short time. And I know as broadcaster and as a person who researches this industry, that's very, very difficult to do. And you know what I think it comes down to, Adam, and maybe you can address this. I think a lot of it comes down to one word: desire.
Right. So my back to my presentation in Vegas, it talks about identifying. I talked about identifying what are the things that you want to accomplish really, okay, and then ask yourself, where's that coming from? Where's that seed of greatness coming from? And so, okay, this is what's been placed inside you to make your life better, make you feel a certain way, and let's go after it. So and by the way, sometimes there's a life interrupt, right? There's a pattern interrupt. Maybe it's this show, maybe it's something else. And you have to drop certain things and say, okay, man, then you have to get back on track. Sometimes it's hard to do, but if it's really something you want and the desire is really, really high, the passion's high, it's going to happen. You just got to stick to it. Don't let it be one of those fleeing, thoughts. Don't let it be a meteor flying through the sky, be a planet, be there.
Yeah.
So people can see it constantly.
Do you notice that people without goals tend to look at their limitations instead of their desires?
Yeah, people without goals tend to allow life to lead them around versus, somebody gets up and carves the day and says, let's make it, tends to lead themselves in a direction. And the good thing about leadership in both scenarios is things get done. But what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that's leading, being led around by somebody else's goals and dreams, or do you want to be the person leading your goals and dreams and helping a whole bunch of other people accomplish them? And if it's the latter, then this not only is a system for you, but this entire show is based on you developing the right leadership skills and moving your life in a direction.
Exactly. Well, listen, what we're going to do in the next couple of episodes is take the information on how to stay purpose, dream, and goal oriented with a burning desire to accomplish something in life. And in the next couple of episodes, we're going to jump into the daily planner because there's only about 3 more months left in
That's
2021.
Right.
And I just want to get people on track in their daily planner. So we'll be doing that in the next coming few episodes. So this is Living Your Life Well Planned. He's Adam Vincent Gilmer. I'm Gene Velitis. Make sure you go to Adam's site and get your daily planner. It's the GPS of the course. So thanks for joining us on this. Right around the corner, episode 62. Have your daily planner ready. This is Living Your Life Well Planned. 80-20-365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. 80-20-365, living your life well planned.